Hey guys, I am back and we have a big, powerful week of astrology unfolding before us. There could honestly be some like earth-shattering revelations or some, foundation-shaking like secrets or something that are revealed in the energy this week. There could be some major power plays going on. We have three big things happening, and then we've got some other side aspects that are very interesting as well. And we're going to be talking about all of it. But the big news this week, number one, we have Jupiter stationing retrograde in the sky on Wednesday the 9th. On the 12th, we have Pluto stationing direct at 29 degrees of Capricorn. Again, like this is huge. This is like foundational change. This is the bringing to a conclusion energy that has been present since 2008 and that will not be present again for another like 250 years. So this is pretty monumental that we've got going on. And then lastly, Mercury will also leave the sign of Libra, enter the sign of Scorpio this week, further like deepening the vibe. We're probably honestly going to be, by the time that we get to the end of the week, quite focused on what's been going on under the surface of things, what's been going on behind the scenes, again, like secrets that perhaps are being revealed and what it means for what we want to create for ourselves moving forward. I think there's going to be a lot of shifts and changes going on this week. This is also energy that is very much, I think, supporting maybe some like lucky breaks or some comebacks or something going on. And we'll talk about that as well. Very prominent Jupiter energy, especially Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. We also have Mars and Venus in an exact trine in water signs, which is a beneficial and productive energy to have, I feel like, on the side of this. There's also sort of an emphasis on partnerships and collaborations, like working out for the best. So we've got a lot to talk about, you guys, as we get this big week of energy started. Let's get into our report of the day. Let's put all of this together and try to figure out what we might be navigating as we move through our week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, October 7th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. That's going to happen at the end. We're going to start with the astrology. We are really in the thick of things now, you guys, and we know that now that especially we are in this cardinal cycle Libra season, we're probably going to see some pretty big or epic or significant changes really start to happen. This is an action-oriented time of year. The four cardinal cycles and seasons, Aries and Libra, Cancer and Capricorn, whenever we got a new moon happening in one of those signs, they are indicating some type of phase of year that is going to initiate action in one way or another, create some type of change. And we've got that going on in our Libra cycle right now, and we've got a lot of clues as to the type of changes that are about to be initiated in the energy. Of course, this whole 2024 year, if you guys have been following the astrology, every astrologer has been saying it, not just me. This is all about big change, big transition, big transformation, being at like a crossroads, being at a point of no return. And once we get through this year, the old world and the old ways and the old, specifically like control structures and mechanisms that have really been defining our reality and that we've sort of been adhering to in our personal lives for a very long period of time, in fact, our entire lifetimes. These are the systems that are actually in a process of breaking down as a result of the energy patterns that are being activated right now. We saw evidence of this. Well, we've been witnessing evidence of this energetically and also manifest physically in our 3D world over the past several years. But this past spring, when we had this past eclipse season, I should say, actually, we had a really big, powerful solar eclipse that went right across the United States, put a real big bullseye right over that path. And we just finished having the partner eclipses, like the other eclipses in that set of eclipses, with the lunar eclipse that we just had recently with that full moon in Pisces, and then the new moon in Libra obviously was also another solar eclipse related to what happened this past April with the eclipse season then. So we've known all 2024, basically, that we are in the like target zone for some very significant, major, honestly, like paradigm shifting changes to begin to take place in our personal lives, on the world stage, in, you know, society and the communities around us and stuff like that. And this energy is really probably going to, again, now that we're in this Libra cycle, which is the oppositional point from when that other eclipse took place last spring when we had our new moon in Aries, this new moon in Libra is when we're going to see, it's like the full moon phase of the year, okay? If that eclipse season and that new moon in Aries was the new moon of this lunar cycle, which according to the Western tropical zodiac, we have our new moon in Aries every year where that alignment comes into fruition, is sort of like the thumbprint for what is gonna unfold throughout the course of the year. It's like the natal print of our energetic lunar cycle in terms of the whole entire year. And so therefore, if the new moon in Aries is the beginning, then the oppositional point to that, the new moon in Libra, would be the halfway point, which in, you know, lunar cycles, that would be the full moon. So again, this is this full moon energy. We always generally get, or this time of year is known for like October surprises and stuff like that, you know, big things changing and sort of coming out of nowhere that may have been a bit unpredictable. And we are probably going to be seeing that in spades, you guys, as we move through just this fall generally and into 2025 as well. Okay, but where we are at now is a major epicenter in terms of this entire, like, the unfolding transitional process represented by this entire year. Okay, so we are in the thick of things, like the action is about to start happening. We are really about to see some things come to light, which brings me to sort of the theme of our video today, which is the 3 big things that are happening this week and what you generally need to know about them. Number 1, Jupiter stationing retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Number 2, Pluto stationing direct at 29 degrees of Capricorn, closing out this last little bit of energy, completing a cycle that began in 2008 and that will not come back around for another like approximately 250 years. So this is a major monumental energetic shift that we have going on. Pluto stationing in the sky, completing his last bit of retrograde motion. Like, this is really finalizing things. So we are probably, and again, this is sort of like this like ground shaking, shifting. It's just a very, very powerful energy. And then, you know, in combination also with Jupiter having stationed in the sky. Oh, I've got lots to say about this, and we'll get there. But the third thing that we have going on this week, which is very actually complementary of these other 2 things, is Mercury, the messenger planet, entering the sign of Scorpio. Now, this makes me chuckle a little bit, and happening in such close proximity with both Jupiter and Pluto stationing, because first of all, we're in a new moon cycle right now. That eclipse that we just had, new moon cycle in the sign of Libra, was in an exact conjunction with Mercury, which is the planet that we're talking about here, changing signs this week, bringing us a vibe shift, ruling the mind, our thoughts, ideas, communication, and also the black moon. Like, all about the shadows. This Libra cycle right now and the eclipse associated with it between now and the next eclipse season that will come next spring has a lot to do with gaining an awareness, gaining an understanding of what has been hidden in the shadows and the impact that that has on the choices and the decisions and the ideas that we're having about things moving forward, okay? So with that knowledge in mind of the Mercury black moon alignment with that new moon in Libra, that was the solar eclipse that we just had, that was the polarity point to that big eclipse that we had last spring. Now we like enter in that Mercury's entering the sign of Scorpio this week, another shadow like oriented like focus. Okay, Mercury in the sign of Scorpio is like digging for the truth. It wants to get under the surface of things. Like, it wants to see like down to the very core and gain an awareness and have an understanding of how the gears in the machine work. Like, this is how the mind is about to be oriented as we begin moving through this Libra cycle, moving through this week, which is also hosting the stationing of Jupiter and the stationing of Pluto. Now, how are these two planets relevant in Mercury's transition into the sign of Scorpio this week? Well, that would be because Jupiter is in the sign of Mercury. Jupiter is in Gemini where he's stationing, and we're talking about Pluto, who's the ruler of the sign of Scorpio. So Jupiter's station, Pluto's station are both like feeding into and very, very, very much intertwined with what is going on with Mercury entering the sign of Scorpio and the generalized energy that this indicates in terms of what we're likely to be talking about, what we're likely to be thinking about, and what we're likely to be learning about over this period of time, which fits right in with the fact that we're in this new moon cycle that was conjunct the black moon and Mercury. So you guys see how these patterns and these pieces are fitting together, and they're just like, they're so like specifically designed and like programmed to have this very, I mean, it's undeniable what this energy is going to bring. Like, it's so evident. It's like bold, and it's like underlined, and it's like circled, you know what I mean? And it's like highlighted. We've got all of the various like ways of indicating that like this is what's happening here. So that being said, there's going to be a lot to learn as we are, and we're in the fall as well, right? Like, this is also the energy where we are like preparing to like hunker down and kind of like go deep, moving into Scorpio season, which is about this deep energy as well. So I think that we're going to have a very kind of like deepened and more complex viewpoint and understanding of a lot of different things, okay, as we really begin moving through this period of time. So there's going to be a lot to learn. There's going to be a lot coming out, and let's talk a little bit about these, you know, the specifics of these planets involved, and then we'll talk about also, you know, what is actually happening as we start this week. We do, as I said, and I want to get into, we're going to talk about the chart for Tuesday. We also have Mars and Venus in an exact alignment as we open our week. We also have Mercury and Chiron in exact opposition. We have a Moon-Jupiter opposition all happening on Tuesday. And as we move through this report, we'll get into that as well. So those are some of the highlights for what we've got going on to open our week, aside from these greater themes that we have playing out. And you guys will see how those things actually fit into the Pluto-Jupiter energy, Mercury energy that we have going on right now as well. But it's very interesting in the context of like archetypes and mythology, as these planets are like doing their thing in the sky right now. Like it's huge, right? We've got Jupiter, which is the planet, first of all, the planet of expansion, the planet of wisdom, the planet of truth. And then we've got Pluto ruling power in all of its forms, like true wealth and true value, and also everything that has been hidden and that which is unseen, and the powerful subconscious forces that a lot of times play very significant roles yet are undefinable in the physical, like earthly reality. Zeus, okay, and Hades. Now, I find it to be very interesting, as I said, from like a mythological or archetypal context, because think about what's going on right now, you guys. We are in the we are ending the Capricorn generation, and we're also exiting the age of Pisces right now. These two energies have a lot to do with hierarchies and centralized power that trickles down to the greater masses and the kind of like the collective sort of schools underneath a hierarchical model of power and control. Now, especially as we are coming out of this Pluto Capricorn energy, the power has been seeking to decentralize, okay? We are transitioning right now, and I've been talking about this. I'm not the only one talking about this. I feel like a lot of people in the spiritual astrological community, are talking about this. There is a massive shift in the way that power dynamics are going to be functioning. We are moving from a centralized power model to a decentralized power model. This is also a part of our larger transition into the age of Aquarius right now, which will sort of be anchored, which we're sort of right at the gateway of, but over the next 20 years will become much more like palpable and tangible in our physical reality. Like we'll notice and we'll realize that like we're, you know, things are definitely changing. Like we're definitely like moving into the future, because Pluto is going to enter the sign of Aquarius coming up here. And once the planet ruling power is in the sign of Aquarius, then obviously everything associated with the Aquarian energy and archetype is going to be energetically supported in its ability to just gain influence and gain prominence. And that is just where the energy is going to be geared. We're moving from a centralized model of power and control to a decentralized model of power and control, based in also, this is an air sign. This is about the mind. This is about ideas, thoughts. It is going to empower the individual in the next 20 years, moving through the greater next 2,000 years. And through this like expanded awareness and like essentially the power of our mind, that is what is going to like transform the world and transform society in a way that reflects the Aquarian age and that which would be represented by it through the archetypes present and the energy present in the Aquarian energy itself. Okay, so putting that off to the side over there. Now we're talking about Zeus and Hades, okay? And we're talking about them in the context of our transition of ages right now, the exit of Hades out of the sign of Capricorn, Capricorn ruled by Saturn, Saturn ruling the past, Saturn ruling karma, Saturn ruling the power and control structures and dynasties that have been incorporated and made of this centralized power, okay? So very interesting how this planetary energy is playing out. Now, if we bring the mythology in just in the context of like allegory or metaphor, or like using the way that energy is expressed through the myth as a template sort of for the way that energy is being expressed now, Zeus and Hades were brothers, right? And they worked together in the battle against the Titans to like take down Kronos, who is Saturn, and be released from the old power structures and dynamics associated with the Titans and their like reign of, you know, their empire. So this is the energy that is emerging right now. We have Jupiter, the king of the sky, the king of the gods, and Hades, the lord of the underworld, both stepping onto the stage, like both entering the arena the same week within days of each other. When a planet stations in the sky, it gains, its energy is amplified tremendously. And Jupiter is already this huge, expansive force of good also. And Pluto, again, is power in all of its forms, you guys, I'm telling you. And Pluto is on the outs of Capricorn, again, ruled by Saturn. I'm telling you, something that is happening in the energy this week as ushering out, there's probably some type of collapse of like government or leadership or big institutions, big corporations, like big financial institutions or something like that, or things to do with just authority figures, figureheads. Like this is talking about a powerful force of good, Jupiter, coming together to like actually like facilitate a release from the way that things have been. And we're talking about Jupiter being in the sign of Gemini. This is information. Information is king here. Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. Hidden information about the ruling like structures or government or authority or what's been going on again behind the scenes and like big business and corporations and stuff like that. Like this is what is likely to see the light of day. There could be some big highlight on something that's been hidden, that's been perpetuating for a very long period of time, that once this awareness is gained is going to cease in its operating and is no longer going to be able to move forward or going to be influential. Like there could be a lot of like fall from graces going on in this energy, honestly. On one hand, And then on the other hand, it's also very interesting because, you know, as I said, and as we move through this report today, there's also a very powerful collaborative influence going on. It's like there are fall from graces going on, but there are also like big time comebacks as a part of this. And it's just probably going to be like, this is probably very strange times. I think that we could say, over the next 6 months, a lot of things are going to be exposed that are going to lead to the downfall of the old places where power and control have been condensed. And as a result of the awareness that is gained, it's going to re-empower the collective in a way that is, again probably going to radically alter how things play out moving forward. Okay, so this is the emergence, I would say, of deep, dark, suppressed truth, knowledge, and information that has empowered and perpetuated these control systems of the past. Like, there are forces coming together right now that are exposing things that have been going on in a way that cannot be returned from or overcome. With both Pluto and Jupiter stationing this week, and then also it's so crazy because it's not just like the fact that those two are stationing the same time and it's like just this very powerful period of time that we're in right now, but then literally like Mercury ruling the position of Jupiter is moving into Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto, which is literally like whatever is being highlighted or expanded in terms of our awareness of the shadows or the underworld or whatever. We're super focused on it. Like, we're super mentally geared in that exact regard. Like, this is detective energy, this is x-ray vision energy, this is like super psychic energy. This is, you cannot, like, you can't fool anybody. Like, we're not falling for it. Like, we see through you, you know. And then you know, to go along with that, there's this energy that is just very supportive of big information that is uncovering things. This could also be very much related to perhaps like the contents of our own subconscious mind also in some type of way. It doesn't necessarily, we're going to probably see some things playing out in the world stage that are like unavoidable and like everybody is talking about and knows about as we move through the energy this week, but it really also could be uncovering like things that we were unaware of within our own selves or like within our own minds. Definitely, like, there could be things coming back from the past that we had forgotten about, that, or like dreams or something even, that are like awakening us to something or sparking something within us or activating some type of like mental shift or idea or epiphany or flash of insight. I don't know, something along those lines. But there's a good chance that something from the depths could also be coming up within ourselves, which helps us gain some type of an expansive awareness somehow that plays a role in, you know, this transformational process that is underway for us right now as well. Like, real big awakening energy to things from the past that have been hidden going on here, especially if you got this energy operating in maybe like your 12th or your 8th house. There could just be, you could be like, and also again, like I said, like very psychic energy as well. So outside and inside, as above, so below, it's probably going to be, again, like just a very revealing period of time. But the new moon, it told us we had a new moon in Libra with exact alignment with the black moon and Mercury. So there has been zero question of what things would be feeling like for us as we move through this period of time. But now again, we just have like the highlight and the underline and the bold print and like the italic and everything going on to make sure that, you know, it's very, very evident what is going on here. Okay, so revelations, finding things out, and going very deep with it. Evil and darkness, you guys, have nowhere to hide. That's the other side of this. Like, Hades and Zeus, okay, Pluto and Jupiter are working together this week. Like, they're both coming out to play at the same time, and they're not historically enemies of each other. Again, they're brothers, and they've worked in alliance and coordination with one another to, again, like defeat in the mythology Kronos, the father, and the Titans associated with them, which would You know, we've already gone through all of that, but archetypally very, very represented by what is playing out and where we're at currently in our cycles of time right now. Okay, now Hades is the lord of the underworld, Jupiter is the god of the sky, right, the king of the gods. And if Hades isn't even on this side of the darkness right now, like even the shadows are no longer a safe refuge for the energy that is distorting and inverting the planetary process of like cosmic evolution that is being activated right now in alignment with our shift of ages. Okay, if Pluto himself is working to destroy the old world and the control systems associated with it and that supported it, essentially the demons really aren't even safe in hell at this point in time, as their existence in our reality, even in the underworld, is no longer energetically being supported, and people are going to be talking about it. I'm telling you, we have Venus right now, who is the ruler of our current cycle at 19 degrees of Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is a parrot listening and then talking, repeats a message he has overheard. And we are talking about a Jupiter station in the sign of Gemini this week. That is big news. That is big information. And with all this black moon, Pluto, Scorpio, Mercury entering Scorpio influence, it is going to be secrets revealed. It is going to be dark to light. It is going to be light into the shadows. And we're going to be getting to the bottom of things. Okay, you guys. And of course, I'll say it, I'll reiterate it yet again. We are also in a South Node eclipse, solar eclipse, beginning of the end. The South Node is the past, the South Node is karma, a solar eclipse and a new moon cycle happening simultaneously. This is a new beginning. This is a cycle about, there is a massive release of like energetic, essentially like toxicity, I feel like, that is being released from the planet right now. I've been talking on and going on and on about it. I'm not going to like get in depth into that right now, but it's definitely a dynamic of what is playing out in the midst of all of this. Okay, this is purging the shadows. That's the cycle that we're in right now. We have journeyed into the underworld and we are figuring a lot out there, and it's really going to change a lot. It's going to change what we want. It's going to change how we act. It's going to change like what we're attracted to, our desires, our values as we move through this period of time. Just majorly very transformative energy in a lot of ways for pretty much everybody, and of course for the world as a whole as well. But we do need to realize, you know, even though we know how the story plays out, Zeus and Hades come together and they defeat Cronus and the Titans. They're not defeated by them. So this is the way that the story will unfold. We are transitioning into the age of Aquarius. Like, we are not going back into the generation of Capricorn and the age of Pisces. No, we are moving into the generation of Aquarius and the age of Aquarius. And so there is no going back, you know what I mean? Like the story, the end has already happened, but now it's just like things sort of need to play out in order to get there. And the old energy that we're moving away from, like this old world, this condensed power structure, we've got to understand, right, that it's not going to be like an easy surrender, most likely. Like they're not going to go down without a fight, right? Things are probably going to get nasty. They're probably going to get ugly. We know this is a period of time about shadows being exposed. So that means that there's probably going to be a lot of very ugly truths that come to the surface, and there probably could be like sort of a vicious fight that goes down in one way or another as we move through this period of time. This old energy is willing to dump the entire contents, probably of Pandora's box, out into the world in order to try to create like a perpetual purgatory, to not have to surrender, to not have to let go, and to not have to be like energetically banished from the planet. Because remember, they are not welcome in the upper world. They're no longer now welcome as of this week in the lower world either. So they're gonna try to figure out something, and as a result, again, things could just be coming to a head in some very intense ways. Things could look very dark as the light shines on them and starts to emerge. We actually have the black moon this week at 12 degrees of Libra. That Sabian symbol is miners emerging from a deep coal mine. Having been in the darkness, having discovered what's been powering things, we are coming out, we are coming back into the light. We have learned a lot, and it's going to change things. It's going to create some big changes and some big transformations moving forward. That is how these pieces are fitting together. Could be ground shaking, quaking type of stuff going on, like earth shattering type of information or revelations, news. We could literally also see figureheads, leaders, authority figures like making powerful statements or engaging in some type of like powerful argument or debate or dispute somehow. Now, as we do get this week started, as I said, there are some other things of note. I want to talk about the chart actually for Tuesday, and we should be optimistic about things as we enter this week for sure. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday specifically, we do have this very dominant Jupiter energy. We have the moon transiting through Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. On Tuesday, the moon will come into exact opposition with Jupiter, and then actually, and then we'll proceed through the sign of Sagittarius. And I think when Jupiter stations on Wednesday, the moon will actually still be in Sagittarius, amplifying the Sagittarius or the Jupiterian energy even more. And of course, like I said, when a planet stations in the sky, it already amplifies that energy, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So we're talking about a very strong Jupiter energy. People should be feeling more hopeful. They should be feeling like just a restoration of a little bit of optimism, like things looking a little brighter, being a little bit more positive, even though we may really be navigating, again, some of this underworld type of situations, staring into the shadows, navigating the darkness. Okay, there is like a restoration of like faith and hope that is probably just gonna be feeling a little bit better about things Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. That and then come the 13th or the 12th, we've got the Pluto energy that is very, very, very strong going on as well, and we'll get there. We'll talk about it. But we also have Mars and Venus in an exact trine this week in water signs as well. That is a very nice energy. Okay, that is people getting along. That is like people working well together, like things being relatively balanced in interpersonal dynamics, like people being sort of on like their best behavior, like it may be related to and just generally working well together. Again, Pluto and Jupiter coming online together, Venus and Mars exactly aligned together in a trine aspect this week. Something about partnerships, collaborations, balance, like the dark and light of things, literally with Jupiter and Pluto, like the masculine and feminine, like oppositions coming together in a productive or successful way. This could also be something that we see play out as we have this week going on as well. We also have Mercury in exact opposition to Chiron on Tuesday. And then the moon will come into the exact opposition with Jupiter as well. So things should be looking up. It's so crazy too, because let me like delineate for you these exact aspects that we have going on Tuesday and how they're feeding into each other. When I saw this, I was like, oh my God, like they really are all very much like working together to support the overall mission of the energy this week, which is some type of secrets or hidden things brought to light somehow in a way that really expands our mind, our purview, our perspective, our vision, and brings in some type of new idea or opportunity or something like that, like helps us make a breakthrough into something new. Okay, we've got Venus trining Mars, okay, in water signs. We've got Venus in the sign of Scorpio right now, and we've got Mars in the sign of Cancer right now. We have Mercury in an exact opposition to Chiron. Mercury is in the sign of Libra right now. Chiron is in the sign of Aries. And then we've got the moon in exact opposition to Jupiter, the moon in the sign of Sagittarius, Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. This is a closed feedback loop of planetary energy. That is because Venus is in Scorpio, she's in the sign of Mars. Mars is in Cancer, he's in the sign of the moon. The moon is in Sagittarius, the sign of Jupiter. Jupiter is in Gemini, the sign of Mercury. Mercury is in Libra, the sign of Venus. And Chiron is in Aries, the sign of Mars. You see what I mean? Chiron and Mercury in their opposition are in the signs of Venus and Mars, who are in a trine together, who are in the signs of Mars and the moon, and then the moon is in the sign of Jupiter, and Jupiter is in the sign of Mercury. So essentially, all of these planets are creating this closed feedback loop of energy as they're all in signs ruled by one of the other planets that are making these exact aspects today. To me, on an energetic level, this is things sort of clicking into place without us really having to do anything. It's inside both our mental and emotional bodies, though. It's like a realization is likely to come through again, or some type of an epiphany or a thought or like a mental shift or idea that heals some old wound, the Mercury Chiron opposition, in relation to like our own self-worth or our own self-concept somehow, that is leading to some type of change in value, desire, what we want to have, what we want to possess, relate to, and connect with. This is also very strong psychic impulses could be represented here, like some type of an internal knowing that's going on, as I mentioned earlier, like having an opportunity to kind of glimpse, like our higher self, or come into a greater alignment with our higher self, broadening our perspective somehow as like a catalyst, or as that like active or initiating force behind some type of emotional growth that is bringing us into a better alignment actually with ourselves, and also a maturation process and a transformation that we know are underway right now as well. This is actually, I think, a very good day to make a decision about something. It's going to grow right, and it's going to be infused with a sense of wisdom and experience as well. With Venus and Mars in a trine together, this is a highly fertile, creative energy. Things that are seated in Venus-Mars trine energy are just likely to grow in a much, they're likely to grow to a point of like completion and success in a way that is less intruded upon by like external forces. It's just an energy that really facilitates growth. And then we've got the Chiron Mercury opposition happening right now as well, like wisdom gained through experience as a facet of whatever it is that we're seeding right now, or whatever we are bringing into creation, whatever we're moving towards, whatever we're aligning ourselves with. And then, the moon Jupiter opposition going on as well, while Jupiter's about to station in Gemini. Like, there could be big news, of course. There could be big emotional responses or reactions to things happening, like people having maybe a big mouth or a bit too much to say in the energy of Tuesday especially. But Mercury and Libra opposite Chiron and Aries. Conversations and news, again, likely to be about things that happened in the past, old wounds, old trauma, old pain, what has not been fair, what has not been just, what has been out of alignment, what has been out of balance, how it's changed who and what we are right now, and who and what we want, or who we want to become, and who we want to associate with, and again, like our preferences and what we're attracted to and what we value moving forward. But with the Venus-Mars trine, again, probably a lot less conflict oriented than things might be in other energy. Probably not the most conflict oriented week interpersonally. People are probably going to be behaving well, getting along well, maybe a bit more generous and kind than normal also. Really, really potent creative force for building, designing, creating anything artistic will probably go really well right now as well. There could also be like new relationships that are, and new connections that are coming in right now that are very, very aligned in some way. For some reason, again, there's something about partnerships, collaborations happening for the best, and in quite a powerful way. Harmonization of feminine and masculine energies in the water signs also, so especially through like the feeling nature of things. And that also, it's like the proper balance of the feminine and masculine energy, especially when we're talking about like in the context of the emotional body, like this is going to create like a very potent and powerful like emotional field that is almost kind of like an abominable will to make things happen or move things forward somehow. And with the very strong Jupiter energy that we have going on as well, this is, I feel like, bringing in an energy of success, of triumph through perhaps collaboration or partnership this week, defying the odds in some way. As I mentioned, making some type of comeback, the tides turning or shifting in your favor could be, again, like some type of lucky or fortunate new connection or relationship that is very supported and very balanced, that is facilitating some type of growth or success or creation or something that comes in this week as well. But it is, and I am sure of this is the new overtaking the old. Venus and Mars are also in the water signs, both still in a loose trine with Saturn retrograde in Pisces. The creative force that is so potent right now is facilitating the breakdown of the old ways as well, in the trine to Saturn retrograding through Pisces. That's the other way that the end of the old world, I feel like, is being represented in the energy right now, is simply through Saturn's placement alone, retrograding through the sign of Pisces, especially with Pluto at 29 degrees stationing of Capricorn. Like we're talking about, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. We've got the destroyer Pluto at the very last degree, critical degree of the sign of Capricorn, while Saturn is retrograding, has no footing in the sign of Pisces, which does not support things. It fades away, it breaks things down, it erodes, it washes, it like fades back into all that is. It's not about like solid, stable, fixed, like cemented forms and structures and foundations and stuff like that. So we've got the Saturnian energy that is really operating at a pretty strong deficit in and of and within itself right now. And then all the other story that's being told by the planetary bodies and the dances that they're doing out there in the cosmos right now. Venus and Mars coming into their trine together are drilling holes in that sinking ship. Okay, that is that old world energy. It really is like a planetary pylon. Everyone's showing up and showing out in this current battle of the ages against the overlord of time and karma and the past and control systems, centralized control systems also, that we are moving away from right now. Kronos, Saturn, the Titans, right? We are tipping the scales, Libra season, energetically into the frequencies of the future that are not condensed but decentralized. And God wins, you guys. Like humanity wins this one. Generation of Aquarius, age of Aquarius. Okay, we're gonna have no fear. Things could definitely get a bit ugly in the process of playing themselves out, but the outcome will be what's right, and what we have to endure to get to the other side of this will ultimately, I think, have been worth it in the end. Now, that's everything I got to say about the astrology generally to open our week, and about what we have going on this week, just all the way through. And we'll narrow in more specifically on Jupiter stationing on Wednesday, and then we'll have a weekend report as well to talk about Pluto and Mercury shifting signs, entering Scorpio. But I want to talk about some of the symbolism that is in play as we open our week as well, and then we'll talk about the tarot. Okay, so I'm going to read some of these symbols. I'm not going to give my interpretation on all of them right now. I want you guys to be aware about some of the symbolism that we do have going on, and you kind of draw your own conclusions from it. But there was just a lot of, I feel like, relevant symbolism that we have playing out, so I thought I would share that with you guys. So on Monday, to start our week, we have 16 degrees of Libra, the position of the sun. Or actually, no, this is the chart from Tuesday. Sorry, I wanted to do the chart from Tuesday because that's the day when we have the exact alignments going on. So I'm going to read the degree planetary positions for actually Tuesday, October 8th. So we have the sun at 16 degrees of Libra. That Sabian symbol is, after a storm, a boat landing stands in need of reconstruction. We have Venus, I mentioned this one earlier, at 19 Scorpio, a parrot listening and then talking repeats a message he has overheard. Interestingly enough, while Venus and Mars are an exact trine, we have Mars at 19 Cancer, a priest performing a marriage ceremony. We have Jupiter at 22 degrees of Gemini, dancing couples crowd the barn in a harvest festival. We have Saturn at 14 Pisces, a woman wrapped in fox fur. We have Neptune at 29 Pisces, light breaking into many colors as it passes through a prism. Pluto stationing this week, you guys. 30 degrees of Capricorn, a secret meeting of men responsible for world affairs. And the breakdown of that is to ensue. That's second part of that was not in the symbol. That was my addendum to the symbol. And then we have Chiron in exact opposition to Mercury on Tuesday, 22 Aries, the gate to the garden to all fulfilled desires. That's where this is eventually leading at the end of the day, at the end of the road, at the end of the journey, okay? And then the North Node also, 7 degrees of Aries, a man successfully expressing himself in 2 realms at once. Has the potential to be a very successful week, has the potential to be a very significant week. There could be some powerful things that are happening this week, powerful experiences, powerful conversations, powerful, again, like revelations or information that we are gaining this week. It could make a major impact somehow, but again, likely to be for the best. Big things, you guys. Let's talk about the tarot now. It's funny how these cards are coming out today. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands and the Six of Wands in reverse. We have the Page of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles. And then on the back of the deck, we have the Empress over the Four of Wands in reverse, which is interesting to me because we've got like all these reversals of this wand energy that would normally be talking about like a failure in something. But yet then we've also got this energy that is literally talking about like being on a direct path to building abundance and success. There could be people changing course, you guys. The things that had inspired us, the things that we had wanted to pursue and create, the things that we had been deriving a sense of like ego gratification or like our perception of worldly success or victory or reputation, or that we had been doing for the accolades or the recognition from others in some type of way, like the ideas that we had to maybe get some type of public recognition or to bolster our reputation or something, and that we thought would make us happy, maybe realizing that's not where it's at. That's not what I'm aligned with. Like, I don't really care about that anymore. And for some reason, being re-inspired. And then under that, we actually, wow, had the King of Swords, Judgment, and the Magician. Yeah, like there could be some type of truth that is coming in that is showing us a different, like, it's like the shift from maybe a passion to a value, okay? It's like instead of being inspired to pursue our passions or to pursue something that is going to gratify our ego here with the Six of Wands in reverse, it's like instead we are choosing or shifting our desire in order to pursue like something like physical and tangible that we find to be of true value. And something that can really bring us like this genuine like soul fulfillment and something very like stable in our material world that we can feel like that is stabilizing for us and that is abundant for us. So yeah, I feel like that's what this is talking about. I feel like this is talking about some type of wake-up call or revelation or understanding or truth or something that we are realizing, some perspective that we are gaining that shifts us out of perhaps a more like ego-oriented drive to pursue something and actually like repositions us in a way that we are wanting to pursue and grow something that is like of greater value to us on a like true fulfillment type of level. So I don't know, you guys. That's what, and then we've got the Magician right here as well. It's like showing us maybe like our true power. We're discovering our true power in a way that shifts the way that we're using our energy and like reprioritizes what it is that we value and want to create. I don't know. We're going to get one more card now. We need to get a synchronicity card. God, Spirit, Universe. What is one additional piece of information or guidance we could use to move us through this period of time? What should we know as we start this week and begin to move into this energy? Focus. Interesting. And again, like, we are likely to be focused. This is like a X-ray vision, penetrating insight type of focus going on. Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Focus your thoughts on God and the part of you that is God. Tune in on God and his serenity over your life. When you can still your mind and think of God and be at peace in your mind, everything around you will fall into a peaceful routine in your home, life, your business, and in all aspects of your life. Stay in this state of mind and you will prosper beyond your wildest dreams. Something about a shift in the focus, you guys. That's what these tarot cards were really saying too. Something about the shift, and we've got Mercury changing signs. We've got this Jupiter. It's all coming together. There's something shifting this week in where the focus is, and that in and of itself is likely to be like some powerful force that changes things somehow. So our guidance is to focus, or to stay focused, or to practice focusing or something like that this week. That's what I'm going to say. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would enjoy this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments. I'm so grateful for your presence here. I really appreciate knowing what's going on with you guys out there. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this here whiteboard over here, I have a link in my description box to a Facebook group where I post the images of those. And come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. Of course, we're going to be talking more about Jupiter on Wednesday. Jupiter will station. We got lots of astrology to continue to work through this week, and I will be here to talk about it. So you should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you next time. Everybody have a beautiful start to your week. And until then, bye guys.